Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Have a seat.
I'm sorry.
Okay, beta. Introduce yourself first.
My name is Sajadul Hafnoan. I belong to Bandipora. I have completed my BTech in Electronics and Communication from Kashmir University, and currently I'm pursuing MA Sociology from IGNO, and at the same time I'm also preparing for JKPSC mains this year.
Okay.
Sir, can I take my mask off?
Yes, you can take to feel comfortable. Yes, we can understand. That's why we have also put
Now I'm
it.
comfortable.
Yes. आप मुझे बेटा ये बता दीजिए जो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम होता है ना इंडिया में वी हैव गॉट पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट इन इंडिया is it good to have parliamentary form of government or presidential form of government, merits and demerits of both?
Yes, sir. So the debate between parliamentary system and presidential system, it dates back to the Constituent Assembly debates. I mean, there was a school of thought that thought India would be best governed if we go for the presidential system, but ultimately we went for parliamentary system of governance, because if we look at the way Indian polity has evolved, I mean, we are a civilizational state. India has evolved since the 5,000 years of history we have got. So it was believed by our constitution makers that given the diversity of views and political opinions that we have in our country, we would be best governed by the parliamentary form of government, because at that time there were we are looking at this situation in the backdrop of partition. There was at the same time communal rights were going on. We had a fractured polity at that time. So it was thought that to accommodate multiple views, multiple opinions and multiple shades of opinion, India would be best governed by parliamentary form of government.
What are the merits of presidential form of government? Come to the point.
When merits of presidential form are, there is certainty in policy making. I mean, it's immune to political pressures. I mean, if we look at the farm bill right now, we are discussing farm issues, right? Government had to repeal the bills because it was believed by a section of population that it's not in the best interest of farmers. But we have been reading since years that we need these farm reforms are required. But at the time when government went for these farm reforms, there was a backlash. So,
Okay.
But these problems are not with the presidential form of government. And at the same time, another merit that comes up with presidential form of government is there's scope for specialization. I mean,
Right.
in
Okay,
US
okay.
we have got.
I got it.
Yes,
I got
yes.
it. You have now hit the nail on its head.
Thank you.
You tell me regarding this thing, the so-called vision. There is a vision of this J&K Cooperative Department. What is the vision?
So, a vision of cooperative department is to develop cooperatives as a voluntary association of people in a democratic spirit. I mean, main thrust is that they should be voluntary association of people, and they should have a democratic spirit and democratic way of functioning.
सजा साहब आप मुझे एक बात बोलो, ये जो असिस्टेंट रजिस्ट्रार पोस्ट, ये गेजेटेड पोस्ट है ना?
Yes, sir.
इसमें अगर सैलरी आपको 10,000 रुपए मिलती है, will you still continue?
Sir, I believe in living in present. So,
अगर आपको कम सैलरी भी मिले, will you still continue it,
sir,
or you will
my
go away with this
motivation
job?
has always been to work at the grassroots level. So this was the prime reason that I started preparing for civil services right after my college. So, but unfortunately, I couldn't get through. I wrote 2 UPSC prelims. I could not get through it. But then I tried for JKPSC.
रजिस्ट्रार कोऑपरेटिव के फंक्शंस बता दीजिए. रजिस्ट्रार कोऑपरेटिव.
Sir, रजिस्ट्रार कोऑपरेटिव के functions हैं. Number 1, it's a supervisory roles होते हैं इनके. They have to ensure that the cooperatives that are there in our state, in various districts, spread across various districts, are running as per the law as they are democratically functioning. At the same time, they are following all the statutes and bylaws that are there.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please define.
Assistant Registrar Cooperatives. So, Assistant Registrar Cooperatives looks after cooperatives at block level. At district level, we have Deputy Registrar Cooperatives, and at block level. I mean, the idea when we started this cooperative movement,
Why have you switched from engineering to sociology?
Ma'am, it was a tactical decision on my part. I was very interested in humanities from the very outset. And second, sociology happens to be one of the scoring subjects when it comes to optionals in civil service exams. So these were the two main considerations that I took sociology.
Okay. Who is your favorite blogger?
There are many bloggers I follow. You're talking about Kashmir or in general?
Okay.
In general, I like to read blogs of C. Raja Mohan. I follow him. I also read blogs of Sukhmdi Kaur. In Kashmir, I follow some blogs. There are Shahid. It's my friend who writes some blogs, very good blogs about Kashmir and the current scenario. So I follow him.
Okay. Which is the recent book that you have read?
Ma'am, the recent book I have read is India's World. It's by Dr. S.J. Shankar. Yes, ma'am. India's World. I mean, it tends to redefine Indian foreign policy and gives us a glimpse of how the current dispensation looks at foreign policy and the worldview that it has about the foreign policy.
Sajad, can you briefly elucidate J&K Self-Reliant Cooperatives Act? Just briefly.
Ma'am, J&K Self-Reliant...
when was it formed? And what are the brief objectives of this?
J&K Self-Reliant Cooperatives Act was formed in 1999, I guess, ma'am. So the objectives were to, number one, democratize the movement. Number two, it was to bring it in sync with the existing laws that are there, because and it was also thought that we should have multi-purpose cooperatives. This act gives a thrust on multi-purpose cooperatives. So, ma'am, these were the three reasons why we enacted this act.
What was a major reason from shifting to the previous act towards this act? And what was the previous act before 1999?
It was Jammu and Kashmir Cooperative Societies Act 89. Ma'am, main motivation was to facilitate multi-purpose cooperatives and also to evolve cooperatives from start from the grassroots. I mean, it was generally believed that cooperatives are generally seen have an overarching government presence. So it was thought that let's give cooperatives a push by increasing their autonomy and their functioning, autonomy in their functioning. So that's why we came up with Jammu and Kashmir Self-Reliant Cooperatives Act.
Okay. Do you believe that there was a monopoly of cooperatives earlier and now the trend has changed? Why is it so? Do you firstly believe in that?
Ma'am, I think it's a natural progression that we are seeing, that in our country as well as in our state, we are seeing that people are shifting from agriculture to other sectors. If we look at the current contribution towards income and towards economy of agriculture, no doubt a large section of our population is engaged in agriculture, 65% as per the last economic survey. But it was also mentioned in Niti Aayog report that cooperative movement to just to agricultural system, and there are also special variations. I mean, if we look at the cooperative movement in Kashmir. It is considered to be among the least developed cooperative movements in our country right now, because developed ones like Maharashtra, Haryana, and other states, they are way ahead when it comes to cooperatives. But our state, I think, cooperative movement has suffered a lot. If we need to revamp it, we need to revamp it looking at the current demands of the time, and yes, ma'am, looking at the current scenario that we are in.
Okay. There was an amendment in the Self-Reliant Cooperatives Act, under which there are two sectors which can be registered and facilitated under 1989. Can you name those two sectors?
Ma'am, if my memory serves me right, it was poultry and it was dairy. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Two questions quickly, since we are running out of time, because so many students are also waiting outside. You have mentioned foreign policy, also one of your hobby, isn't it?
Interest,
foreign policy,
sir, interest.
Foreign policy and IR. What are the determinants of foreign policy?
So, determinants of foreign policy.
For any particular nation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, there are many determinants of foreign policy. Number one is our national interest. I mean, what do we as
okay, national interest. Don't stretch it too long.
Yes, sir.
Yes, enumerate.
Determinants. Number one is national interest. What do we see? How do we see ourselves as a nation? Number two is economics. Where do we see our foreign policy meeting our economic objectives? Number three is military. Military is also a major component of foreign policy discourses. Number four is soft power, and number fifth is the technology, right?
Resources and technology. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What's Panchsheel agreement?
Panchsheel agreement, sir. It was an agreement that was signed between Prime Minister Nehru and
Why the name Panchsheel?
Because there were five pillars that were to govern our.
What are those 5 pillars?
Number one, mutual coexistence.
Good.
Number two, non-interference in each other's internal matters.
Interference.
Number three was peace.
Non-aggression. Okay,
yes,
fair
sir.
enough. If you are posted in, say, and you are from district Bandipora,
yes, sir.
You are then, hopefully, if you are selected, then you are asked to, join at some other district, far-flung district.
Yes, sir.
Will you be willing to join there?
Sure, sir. Sure. Why not?
Okay. So,
Which do
For cooperatives, so I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay, who is the current DR Bandipura?
Deputy Registrar. Ma'am, I haven't checked it.
Okay, what's the vision statement of the cooperatives? As you mentioned, you said it, Sahakar se Samriddhi. Can you just explain it? Not explain, just there's a specific meaning attached to it.
Sahakar means.
Say Samriddhi. There's a prosperity through cooperation. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is the Minister of Cooperation at state level?
At state level?
Yes.
State level, we don't have a ministry.
but then who is in charge at the moment?
Arusi, sir, it's advisor to governor.
Yes.
So he's in.
Who is he?
I don't recall, sir.
Secretary of Cooperatives?
Is Isha Mughal. She's an IAS officer, Isha Mughal.
Okay. Yes.
Now coming to your feedback, see, first of all, your answers are very much lengthy. You need to be precise in your answer. The more you are going to stretch your answer, more they are going to catch up on you, because they will be picking up, from your words, whatever you are going to speak in front of the panel.
Yes, sir.
And then usage of words like I think, do avoid them.
Yes, sir.
Skip these, usage of these words. I think, probably. You have to be sure in your answer. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And then yes, your sting posture. अभी भी देख लीजिए आप, आपका sting posture है, it's bit like this.
Yes, sir.
This means you are not confident. थोड़ा nervousness में हो आप.
Yes,
और अगर आप पीछे भी चले जाते हो, this is overconfidence. ये
I should say.
Your sting posture should be erect one. ठीक.
Yes, sir. ठीक है,
हाँ,
sir.
थोड़ा सा पीछे, लेकिन ज्यादा भी नहीं जाना पीछे. ओके, ज्यादा अगर पीछे चले गए तो ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस, आगे तो अंडर कॉन्फिडेंस.
Yes, sir.
नॉर्मल स्टिक पोस्चर में. ठीक है.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You said you have mentioned so many hobbies in your this resume.
Yes, sir.
They are going, either you have to be very much, you know, they're strong in these areas, otherwise do limit them to 2 or 3 hobbies, क्योंकि जितना ज्यादा हॉबीज में लिखोगे ना उतना ज्यादा फिर आपको पता भी होना चाहिए.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
कोई लिख देता है हॉबी में आरटीआई एक्टिविस्ट में आपको थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री बता देंगे, यू नो, इसकी
Yes,
इंफॉर्मेशन की आरटीआई का जो होता है. सो इफ पॉसिबल डू लिमिट देम टू 2 or 3. ठीक है. सोशियोलॉजी आप एमए कर रहे हैं बिकॉज इट इज स्कोरिंग सब्जेक्ट इन यूपीएससी और जेकेपीएससी, डोंट से दैट इट्स स्कोरिंग. ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
से इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ योर इंटरेस्ट एंड ऑल दैट. ठीक है. इसके बारे में पता है, मैं जानना चाहता हूँ सोसाइटी के बारे में.
Yes, sir.
दिस शुड नॉट बी द आंसर. एंड यूर रिप्लाई टू दिस सेक्रेटरी कोऑपरेटिव, इट्स याशा मुदगल या नॉट ईशा. तो नाम जो होंगे ना,
Yes,
दे
sir.
शुड पूरे अच्छे से आपको जानने चाहिए कि नाम क्या है. डोंट
Yes.
मिसप्रोनाउंस देम. एंड देन यू कैन यूज श्रीमती एज वेल इन
Srimati.
ऑर्डर टू, यू नो, शो सम सॉर्ट ऑफ रेस्पेक्ट टुवर्ड्स
Yes,
दैट,
sir,
यू
yes,
नो,
sir, yes,
दैट पर्टिकुलर चेयर. ठीक है सर.
Sir, बहुत खराब किया सर मैंने.
Try to be precise.
Yes, sir. और
Lengthy.
history का-
Problem is, as all the panelists observe, that you overstress the answers.
Yes, sir.
Be precise,
Yes, sir.
be to the point, and avoid it should be, I mean.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. और आपकी लेग मूवमेंट भी अभी सही नहीं है. ठीक है. सो यू हैव टू बी
ये मैं
कंप्लीटली.
बैठूं कैसे, मतलब टू बी ऑनेस्ट
Yeah, be
ऐसे
comfortable like
नहीं
this.
है.
Yes.
मैं ये मतलब शुड आई
हाँ.
क्रॉस
Yes.
लेग, मैंने सर क्रॉस लेग पढ़ा था तो
No,
Yes, sir.
क्रॉस लेग नहीं. ये दिस
This
इज
is
राइट
perfect.
पोस्चर.
This is
एंड यू नो व्हाट, अगर आप हाथ रखेंगे ना ऐसे, ये ऐसे भी ठीक है, ऐसे नहीं रखना. ये होता है टेंशन, स्ट्रेस में, यू नो.
अच्छा,
ये
ऐसे
हाँ,
ठीक है.
यस, दिस इज द परफेक्ट पोस्चर. ऐसे रहना.
आपने हैंड
हाँ,
मूवमेंट यूज
हाँ.
किया, दैट्स गुड, बट ओवर भी नहीं
Over
करना
ज्यादा भी
चाहिए.
नहीं
ओवर
करना.
भी नहीं करना चाहिए.
Yes,
शुड
sir.
बी लिमिटेड.
ये minor things है, ये हो जाएगा.
पोस्चर है स्लाउजी है थोड़ा सा.
Yes,
हाँ.
sir.
ऐसे नहीं.
हाँ, sir,
जस्ट
भी
बी
कहें.
कॉन्फिडेंट. यू शुड बी कॉन्फिडेंट. ठीक है.
Yes,
बाकी आपको नहीं आता था, यू वर ऑनेस्ट इन सेइंग कि आई डोंट नो, और दैट इज गुड. एंड डोंट गेस. और जैसे सर ने बोला, यू जस्ट नेम्ड इकबाल साहब, शफक, श्री
Mr.
शफकत,
हाँ,
Mr.
ऐसे.
शफकत, ऐसे ना.
Yes,
ईशा
yes,
मुदगल. सो ये
नाम-
ऑफेंसिव लगता है.
श्री मिस्टर आगे लगाना जरूरी है.
यशा मुदगल.
जी 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 जी.
क्योंकि ये कोऑपरेटिव्स रिलेटेड नेम्स हैं, ये आपको टिप ऑफ द टंग पे होने चाहिए.
Yes,
एंड
sir.
यू शुड यूज इट इन अ कंप्लीट फॉर्मल मैनर.
योर शूज, ठीक है, वो फॉर्मल.
सर एक्चुअली
हाँ, हाँ, आज कोई बात नहीं, चलेगा, लेकिन उस दिन-
इसीलिए बोल रहे हैं.
Yes,
फॉर्मल
sir.
अटायर
Formal
होना
attire,
चाहिए complete.
यस सर, यस सर, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बोला नहीं था मैम, दैट्स
मतलब कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन उस दिन के लिए तो जाओगे आप. ओके बेटा,
Be
थैंक यू.
confident. बाकी बेस्ट ऑफ
Best of luck.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर.